So, obviously I'm not going to be wearing my shades because it's nighttime and I'm on the way home. So, the movie Tron Ares, let me kind of tell you what I knew about it beforehand. I don't even remember when I first found out that this movie was happening. I'm honestly surprised, and actually, if I'm being honest, I'm actually quite pleased that they continued Tron, the story of Tron, because they stopped with Legacy, but they kind of went full force with that too. Like, they were working on Tron Legacy, they had Tron Uprising on Disney XD, they had a couple games, I think, and I don't really know if they were planning a sequel to Tron Legacy right away. And so, here we are, 15 years later, and we finally have a, a straight up sequel to Tron Legacy, but it's not really a sequel per se. It's more of like if you watch like the Karate Kid movies and then you watch Karate Kid from 2010 with Jaden Smith, those were like on completely different corners of the same universe. Well, granted, we didn't know it was the same universe until obviously this year when we saw Karate Kid Legends. But this is kind of the same thing, it's in the same world. They do reference Sam Flynn. This is a spoiler review, by the way. They do reference Sam Flynn, but at the same time, he's like barely in there, Like, by barely, I mean he's not there. Like, the actor is not even there. Like, he's just like I think a news article featuring him. Other than that, there's that's it. But to go back to what I was talking about, like the story. Let's start talking about the story. The story is it centers around Ares, who's a program, and the center of this story is Ares. Like, he's a program. It's not I guess I didn't really see the first one, but I'm assuming that the main character was Flynn, the first guy. The guy, I forgot what his name was. But the main character was a human. The second one was his son, which is Sam, right? And essentially, this one, it's kind of twisting it up because one of the main characters is also a human. It's a girl, whose sister died of cancer, and I guess that's kind of like her driving force in the movie. And so now we're kind of like seeing it from the lens of a program who's kind of starting to evolve to become more human-like, right? And kind of that's like his progress. He's like, I guess his whole arc is like, it kind of comes full circle when he comes back to, spoiler alert, when he goes back to the original, the very first Tron, like literally, like the graphics are the same and everything. He comes back to the first movie's like setting, and he meets the first, guy. I really have to learn his name. They literally mentioned it so many times during the movie, but he was like the main character from the first Tron movie was there, and it was kind of like giving him guidance and stuff, and that was where he kind of like learned, like his arc. I think his arc was more like, yeah, I think it's like literally, if you were to sum it up, I guess you could sum it up with just the literal words that were stated, which was, if you head into the unknown, you'll come out like, you'll realize that there's nothing to be afraid of. You know what I mean? Which, like the whole, people were saying that the whole kind of like political agenda behind, I wouldn't say there's really a political agenda behind like this movie in particular, but it does delve into something that's really relevant in today's, day and age with AI. And it's like everyone's scared that, AI is going to replace, humans. But I really don't see how that correlates to this movie, because it's kind of like Hollywood is kind of anti-AI right now, like writers and actors and stuff, especially with the whole Tilly, I don't remember what her name was, like the whole issue with that. But this movie kind of like shows us like, oh, AI can eventually evolve to become like humans. So that would be an antithesis to everything that people from Hollywood, like actors, are going. So I don't think that there's any real political. Correct me if I'm wrong, because like that's just from the angle that I'm seeing it, you know. But it's like, I think like the movie it's just being a movie. That's all it is. Like the story was just there, and it's tying it back to, like the whole story about, like, Tron, everything that the story represents. Like it started with the first movie being taking place in the game, and then in Legacy we jump a generation, like a literal generation. I think the time gap between the first and second movie is still way more than, like, probably twice as much as the amount of time we waited, like 30 years, right? From 2 to 3. You know what I mean? And people are calling this a reboot. It's not a reboot. Like, it literally ties into, it literally ties into, it literally mentions Sam. I was like, okay, if this is a reboot, then they're not going to mention Sam. But they mentioned Sam. But it's just Sam just kind of left, and I think Disney might have something planned for that return. So, that would be kind of the way to go with the fourth one. But like the story was I really liked the story. I really liked the chemistry between the lead, like, Jared Leto and I forgot what his name was, her name was, but she was just great. Like you can really feel the chemistry between them, and it's not forced. I don't feel like it was forced. Maybe some people it may feel forced, but for me that's like my cup of tea. Like when it comes to romance, like right off the bat you see that, hey, there's there's a spark there, because he just seems very fascinated by her, and she seems very like curious about him too. So it's like, I think that's what love is. It's like, some people think that love, like finding love, is about just flirting or like knowing how to flirt. But like, like they were kind of like straight to the point with each other, and I think that's like a very 2010 thing for me to kind of point out. But like a lot of romance that comes from today, it's like, I guess, comes from like a realistic standpoint where, like, oh yeah, they know how to flirt, like they say like a cheesy one-liner, and somehow that gets everything started. And I never understood that. I kind of understood it, but it's like this movie just kind of takes the cake. Like going back to, I guess, the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, the chemistry between Emma and Andrew in those movies, I think that's like my cup of tea right there. It's like kind of very straightforward, you know what I mean? Very sure. It's not like wishy-washy romance where it's like, oh, I'm not sure about how I feel. No, it's like like you can tell that they're into each other. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of, like, I think that's something that's missing in this day and age, in movies in particular, and everything in general, But I think that the soundtrack was amazing. I feel like they were holding back. Like they were holding back on the soundtrack. But the beginning, the parts when, when Ares came back from the grid, like there were moments in the movie where you can really, really feel the the music. Like it's amazing. Like Nine Inch Nails, like I've never heard of them, like the name, but I've heard some of their songs, and the music was just phenomenal, and the I think I didn't really have any issues. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I really like the movie. Like, I like the movie. I think everyone should watch it. This is honestly the very first time I think I watched it in Santa Monica. So I don't know. I used to watch movies like all the way up in, like in Hollywood or like Carson, Del Amo, Torrance, But here in Santa Monica, the theaters was packed, and I think that was a pleasant surprise, because I think the closest thing I've ever gotten to a full house. Well, I think the other two movies that I've seen kind of a full house was Thunderbolts, where I watched at Universal Studios, and Karate Kid. But every other movie that I've seen this year, even Superman was not packed, I don't think. But that movie, yeah, like everyone was there. Everyone was like enjoying. The theater was kind of dead. I don't know. The vibes were off. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just that's just how the movie experience was for me. I really enjoyed it. I hope they continue the story. People always say stuff about Jared Leto, but I think that his performance here in particular, I don't know if I've ever not enjoyed. I didn't enjoy him in Zack Snyder's Justice League, but I enjoyed him in this movie. I enjoyed him in I enjoyed him in Suicide Squad. I enjoyed him in what other movies has he been in? I could have sworn there's Morbius. Well, you can't really judge Morbius because I guess it's like a issue with like everything else in that movie, so I can't just blame it on him. But he's still kind of the face of that. So I guess you can say that Morbius was like more subpar than not. But this movie he was great, and I enjoyed it. So yeah, thank you so much for listening, guys. I'm gonna be talking about Peacemaker next. Like my frustration with the finale, but some people did like it, and I guess I'm gonna talk about the things that I did like about it and the things that kind of like I did not enjoy about it. So thank you so much for listening.